Hello everyone and welcome back to Black Cats TV. Just me tonight. I actually genuinely don't know where Mike is. We were meant to meet up and do this preview, but I think I've got his score prediction, so we'll be able to get to that as well. I'm actually a little bit glad he's not here, so he doesn't have to see that he's already on the leaderboard and beating me. But hey ho. So before we get into this Burnley preview, do like and subscribe. It really does help us out. We're doing really well on subscribers at the minute, so I'll ask you now, so I don't have to ask you again. Do it. So Burnley away on Saturday, 3 o'clock. I was looking into a bit of the history of this fixture. It feels like we've played them a lot recently, but there was some very close by ones. They've been in the Premier League a few times, and of course they never dropped to the depths of League One like we did. So had a quick look. We've played them several hundred times probably, but we've won 48. They've won 39, and there's been 34 draws. Out of those, I think the most irritating one, of course, but the last time we played Burnley was 0-0 in January at Turf Moor when a certain James Trafford saved 2 penalties in the last 10 minutes to stop us from getting a valuable 3 points down at Turf Moor. But he no longer plays for them. And as far as I'm aware, in terms of their defensive units, they no longer have a lot of their key defenders as well. So we'll have a look into who they've recruited since in a moment. But following that, we won 1-0, of course, at the Stadium of Light back in August. Romain Mundle scored. We drew 0-0 March the year before away at Turf Moor. We lost 4-2 at home. It wasn't the year before, sorry, it was 2 years before because they were in the Premier League. When we drew 0-0. I think I remember rightly thinking this was in our sort of build-up to the playoffs when we had Tony Mowbray, and remember thinking we were miles better than Burnley when we played them at their place, but drew 0-0. We were a really good side at that point. We lost 4-2 at home, most recently against them in the previous year because I think we were 2-0 up. I think Neil and Diallo might have scored in the first half, and then I think they scored 4 in the second half. But this was a team that had just dropped down from the Premier League, of course, that time. So they've been a bit of a yo-yo recently. And then in August 2019, we played them in the League Cup when we were in League One and they were in the Premier League. And we won 3-1, if people remember rightly. I think might have been goals from Dobson and Flanagan and potentially, I don't even want to, when it's like a bad fever dream that you don't really want to relive again. So I'm a bit like, oh, okay, we won. And then before that, 2017, we played in the Premier League and we drew 0-0 at home. So, fair few. We've only lost one in October, and we've won 2, drawn 3 out of those sort of records we've had against them there. They, of course, just lost 3-0 to Spurs on the opening day of the season, which puts them 18th in the league. Now, no, it's the first game, 18th. It doesn't really matter. But what matters is we won 3-0 and we are second in the table. So that it's really important when we're this high up. But I'm guessing for Burnley, it's not that important when they're down there. So I'm expecting a bit of a turnaround from Burnley, shall we say. They're not going to want to go out, I think, the way they did against Spurs, and from all accounts and what I've seen online, they actually played pretty well, counter-attacked really well with the limited possession they had. I think they had about 33%, but they still had 4 shots on target, whereas Tottenham 66%, I think only had 6 shots on target as well. So it's Burnley were looking like they were causing some issues with the limited amount of the ball that they were having, but you don't imagine a team like Burnley are going to play at home, especially against a newly promoted rival, shall we say, and sit back and defend against us. But stranger things have happened, and Scott Parker does like to play that system. The signings that they've made, of course, I think most notably the 2 are Brozier from Chelsea and Ugachukwu from Chelsea. They've brought both of those in for, says here, undisclosed fee, but I seem to remember it being in the between the 15s and 30s, so millions there. They've got Dubravka, of course, from them up the road. They've got Braun Larson, Kyle Walker from Man City. I am reading it on here. They signed Marcus Edwards on a permanent from Sporting Lisbon, of course, who we were after in the January, but then he joined them. Alex Twenzaby on a free as well. They got another Chelsea one there. Bashir Humphreys, Hartman from Feyenoord, Fleming from Millwall, and Jaden Anthony from Bournemouth, as well as Tachoa from Lazio. So they've made some good signings. When we have a look at the way they are likely to line up against Spurs, they did start off with a 5-4-1 when they had I think they were trying to make it like a 3 at the back, but 5 when they were out the ball. But of course, Skies put it down as there was 5. You had Walker, Ekdal and Estive as the centre backs. You had Son and Hartman as the full backs. Dubravka, of course, was in goal. Dubravka, of course, now famous for being the first goalkeeper to get penalised for holding onto the ball for too long. Then across the middle, you had Hannibal, Josh Laurent, Josh Cullen, they love a Josh, Jaden Anthony, and Lyle Foster. And on their bench, they had, do I reckon, Zion Fleming was the new one we were talking about, Aaron Ramsey, that's not the Aaron Ramsey, and then Ugachukwu, Edwards, Braun Larson, and Tachoa, who all came on in the 60 minutes onwards. So they did throw on a lot of their new signings. No sign of Brozier yet for them. So it's more a case of how are we going to line up and sort of deal with this? Well, I mean, having been at the game on Saturday, as many of you will, and many will have watched as well, I anticipate to do a very similar sort of thing where I think we try and boss the midfield. Xhaka just, keeping control of it there with Siddiqui being his busy self and getting in everybody's face there. Him and Hannibal will be a good duel as well. Diarra will be breaking us out of it there. I don't expect to see any changes massively to the team. The one I would imagine is Sealed drops out for Alderete, and I keep saying Alderente, but people keep telling me there's no N in his name there, but it's just easier to say. But we'll go with Alderete for now until someone tells me I'm saying that wrong as well. But I imagine we keep the same of Roofs, Hume, Ballard, Alderete, Mandava at left back, and then the 3 midfield: Xhaka, Siddiqui, Diarra with Adingra, Talbi, and Mayenda to start. I would have thought. I just have this feeling if we start Isidore, as good as I think he is, and I think he's more than capable, I think the crowd will be on his back quickly for the penalty incidents in January. So they might sort of we want to try and quiet them down for their first game as well. And if we're going to try and win again, because imagine the heights of us getting 6 points from the first 2, it would be beyond your wildest dreams if I'd have told you that back in May. But stranger things have happened. I think in terms of predictions, I will put the table on for Mike. So there it is. Mike, Richard Waite, I should say, and Trevor Dundin all got a point for 3-0 against, I was going to say Luton. God, I'm living back in the League One days here. Against West Ham, of course, which was a bit annoying watching that third goal go in as well. As much as I loved it, it really was a bit like, oh no, Mike's got points against me there, which is not how you want to start the season off, with Mike beating you at anything, really. But Mike in our group chat has gone 2-0 to Sunderland. I'm going to put this down as your prediction, Mike. If you're watching now, you've gone 2-0. And I've got it written here when you were replying to Bowers there. So it's definitely 2-0. Really annoyingly, I wanted to say 2-0 as well. I will go with... I'll go with 3-1. I do think Burnley might score. But I think we're going to carry on this momentum, this wave that we've been on ever since, we stole the win down at Coventry. We've just been riding this absolute wave of good faith and good play and just general good vibes, shall we say. And it's been an absolute incredible thing to watch. So I think 3-1. So do get your predictions down in the chat. Do get your predictions down in the comments as well. Really appreciate reading all of those and entering the competition to win a shirt or something at the end of the season from us on the channel. You only have to get it right once and you're on the board already. And of course, you've seen from the first game week, we already have 3 on there. So I'm sure they'll be back. Mike will definitely be back, but I'm sure Richard and Trevor will be back in as well to try and keep up with their good scores so far. In terms of the preview, though, I really hope we can win. I want to win because it's Burnley and it's a promoted side. And if, again, a bit like the West Ham one, if we trying to stay up, which we all seem to be on the page that we're going to stay up, these are the teams we need to beat. And I don't want to see a typical Sunderland from days of old or years of old comeback where we go, oh, we've had a good result against West Ham, lose. I just don't need that now. We need to keep that going and beat Burnley as well. Put them down on the bottom still and really sort of assert ourselves as we've got 6 points already. When people said, well, we're not even going to get past 12 of Southampton, when all the comments there on, well, you're on minus 24 points for behind Leeds and Burnley. Well, we'll be on minus 18 if we've won them. So we just need to keep it ticking over, play our game. I expect to see us hitting them on the counter again, playing a very sort of conservative game, but one where we break out quickly, almost doing to Burnley what they tried to do to Tottenham. And if we can keep their crowd quiet, and if we can get someone like a Dingra up against Walker, and if we can get Talby up against Estive, I think we're in for a good afternoon. So let me know your predictions in the chat. Really want to have a look and see all of those and see if I can get back on the board as well as other people. But we will be doing a live stream, of course, on Saturday. I think Mike will be doing this one. So join us around 2:45, 10 to 3, so that we can get that one done. But yeah, I think that's it for this one. So like and subscribe again. I won't put the video on so you can see it. But yeah, take care, everyone, and see you later. Bye-bye now.